It is now.
Okay. Here we go. Most personal questions, round number 3. Our first question comes from Misha Martin. She said, raise your hand if you ever ran from the police and got away. Anybody ever ran from the police and got away? We're taking the video for island106.com. And either everybody or nobody raise their hand.
This question is from Gina Webster of Panama City Beach. Raise your hand if you have ever used your celebrity card to pick up a date.
Wow. Used your celebrity card to pick up a date.
2 people raised their hands.
Raise your hand if you would continue working if you won the lottery. And this is from James Frost on the beach.
Raise your hand if you would continue to work if you won the lottery.
Either everyone or no one raised their hand.
Okay, Mackenzie Anderson from Panama City wants to know, raise your hand if you have ever been convicted of a felony. And we never got that question asked until we got a black person on the show. Weird, Miguel.
Surprise, surprise.
Raise your hand if you've ever been convicted of a felony. The video is now being recorded. This is shocking. Either everyone or no one raised their hand.
Next question is from Paula Kaiser of Panama City. Raise your hand if raise your hand if you've ever bitten off someone else's toenail.
Like I said, you ask whatever you want, you know?
You ask the questions. We answer them.
Raise your hand. The video is being taken right now at island106.com.
Either everyone or no one raised their hands.
And this is from Stephanie Mills in Southport. Raise your hand if you still watch cartoons.
Raise your hand if you still watch cartoons. Raise your hand if you still watch cartoons.
2 people raised their hands.
All right, Lori Mills from Lynn Haven wants to say, raise your hand if you've ever flirted your way out of a speeding ticket. Have you ever flirted your way out of a speeding ticket? Excuse me, wow. That's a surprise. 1 person raised their hand.
Raise your hand if you have pets.
Raise your hand if you have pets.
Pets. That comes from Chad Gainey of Vernon.
Chad, man, we don't ask too much effort in this question. I mean, honestly.
You wanted some personal questions.
That's personal. Raise your hand if you have pets. Okay.
1 person raised their hand.
That was scandalous. Let's get to the website and check that out. You're not going to believe it as a pet.
Alright, this is Molly Huddleston from the beach. Raise your hand if you ever wish you worked for a different radio station.
Wow. And that's, I guess, it doesn't say in this town. It just says anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you wish you worked for a... Oh, what?
If you ever worked for a raise your hand if you ever wish you worked for a different radio station.
Okay. Poll's being taken right now. Man.
Either everyone or no one raised their hand.
Joanna Zier from Panama City says, raise your hand if you've ever hooked up with a past boyfriend or girlfriend while you were currently in a relationship with someone. Raise your hand if you have ever hooked up with a past boyfriend or girlfriend while you were in a relationship with someone else. Either everyone or no one raised their hand.
This comes from Lauren Rudd of Lynn Haven. Raise your hand if you ever made fun of or made faces while talking to a caller.
Oh, man. Ever made faces?
Ever made fun of or made faces while talking to a caller. Either everyone or no one raised their hand.
This is from Chelsea Harrison from the beach. Raise your hand if you see yourself working somewhere else in the next year.
Next year, raise your hand. Working somewhere else. Miguel, you might want to raise your hand from this. Throw it out there.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Either everyone or no one raised their hand.
Raise your hand if you plan on marrying your current partner, from Shannon Ray. From Lisa Salvage.
Savageau,
Savage,
I think.
Of Panama City. Raise your hand if you plan on marrying your current spouse.
No, partner.
Y'all can check the video out for that. I'm not even going to say that one. Wow. More than one person raised their hand. I'll put it that way. You have 2 people.
Okay, this is from Lisa Barfield of Panama City. Raise your hand if you have ever given someone of the opposite sex the wrong phone number.
Ooh. Raise your hand if you have ever given someone of the opposite sex the wrong phone number.
This is from Deanna Scott, PC. Raise your hand if you have ever gone out to a club or a bar looking for a one-night stand.
Wow. Have you ever gone out to a club or a bar looking for a one-night stand?
2 people raised their hand.
Okay, this is our last round, by the way. Last time. Daphne Coleman from the beach wants to say, raise your hand if you ever passed gas on a first date. Someone ever passed gas on a first date? Either everyone or no one raised their hand.
Raise your hand. This is from D. Coleman of the beach. Maybe the same person.
I don't remember.
It just says D. Coleman of the beach. Raise your hand if you ever wondered if you were gay.
Raise your hand if you ever wondered, possibly, if you were gay.
Surprisingly, 2 people raised their hands.
This is from Creed Stevenson of the beach. Raise your hand if you have ever fallen asleep during sex.
Wow. Ever fallen asleep during sex? Raise your hand if you have fallen asleep during sex.
2 people raised their hand.
Man, this video is incriminating. Alright, stop the video.